When you live with health anxiety, you spend a lot of time thinking about what's going on in your body. Every ache, every twinge, every weird symptom feels like it could mean something serious. And in that constant search for ways to protect yourself and lower your risk of illness, food becomes really important. I've learned that what I put on my plate can either make me more anxious or give me some peace of mind. And if there's one category of food that science keeps pointing to as one of the most powerful protective things we can eat, it's leafy greens. Leafy greens are not just another healthy food group. They're one of the most studied, most consistent dietary recommendations you'll see across almost every nutrition guideline in the world. We're talking about things like spinach, kale, romaine, collard greens, arugula, Swiss chard, bok choy, mustard greens. Even herbs like parsley and cilantro technically count. They're nutrient-dense, low in calories, and packed with compounds that touch almost every part of our health. And for someone like me, who worries constantly about heart disease, cancer, dementia, diabetes, and everything else, leafy greens feel like one of the best safety nets I can build into my daily routine. So let's break down why these vegetables are so important and how you can actually get enough of them without feeling overwhelmed. First, let's talk about heart health. This is probably one of my biggest fears, heart attacks and strokes. And leafy greens happen to be loaded with nitrates, which our bodies convert into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide relaxes blood vessels, lowers blood pressure, and improves circulation. Studies show that people who regularly eat nitrate-rich vegetables like spinach and arugula have better vascular health and reduced risk of hypertension. On top of that, leafy greens are rich in potassium, which balances out sodium and helps regulate blood pressure. And they're full of fiber, which can lower cholesterol levels. It's almost like every single thing inside these vegetables is designed to protect your heart. Then there's cancer risk. I think that's the one that keeps me up at night the most, wondering if I've missed some hidden sign or if something is growing silently inside me. Leafy greens give me at least a little sense of control because they contain antioxidants like vitamin C, beta-carotene, lutein, and zeaxanthin, all of which help neutralize free radicals before they can damage DNA. On top of that, greens are high in compounds called glucosinolates, especially in things like kale, collards, and mustard greens. These break down into bioactive compounds that have been shown in lab studies to slow the growth of cancer cells and help the body detoxify carcinogens. I'm not saying eating a salad is going to guarantee I never get cancer, but knowing that these compounds exist and that they've been studied in real scientific research makes me feel like I'm stacking the odds a little more in my favor. Brain health is another huge one for me. Every time I forget a word or can't remember why I walked into a room, I start to panic about dementia. But leafy greens have been linked to slower cognitive decline. There was a study out of Rush University that found people who ate at least one serving of leafy greens per day had the cognitive function of someone 11 years younger compared to people who rarely ate them. A lot of that comes down to the folate, vitamin K, lutein, and beta-carotene in greens, all nutrients that seem to protect brain cells and keep them working properly. So every time I add spinach to a smoothie or throw some kale into a soup, I remind myself that I'm literally feeding my brain. Leafy greens are also incredible for the immune system, which is another area that fuels a lot of my health anxiety. Every sore throat or cough makes me wonder if my immune system is strong enough to fight off what's coming. Luckily, greens are packed with vitamins A and C, both of which are essential for immune defense. Vitamin A helps maintain healthy mucous membranes in the respiratory and digestive tracts, basically our body's first line of defense against pathogens. Vitamin C stimulates white blood cell production and helps them function better. And the magnesium in greens helps regulate inflammation, which is at the root of so many chronic illnesses. Speaking of magnesium, that's one mineral that a lot of us don't get enough of, and it plays a role in hundreds of processes in the body. It's especially important for muscle and nerve function, energy production, and blood sugar regulation. For someone like me who sometimes spirals into panic attacks, magnesium has also been shown to support relaxation and reduce anxiety symptoms. Just knowing that a big bowl of leafy greens can give me a natural boost of magnesium helps me feel calmer about my daily diet. Another reason I lean on greens is their role in gut health. I don't know about you, but digestive issues always send me into an anxious tailspin. Leafy greens are high in fiber, which keeps things moving and helps feed the good bacteria in your gut. There's even a compound in spinach called sulfoquinovose, a special sugar molecule that feeds beneficial bacteria and helps maintain a healthy microbiome. Since gut health is connected not just to digestion, but also to immunity and even mental health, this is one more way leafy greens cover multiple bases at once. And here's something I didn't realize until I dug into the research. Leafy greens are one of the best sources of vitamin K. Vitamin K plays a key role in blood clotting and bone health. A lot of people think calcium is the only nutrient for strong bones, but vitamin K helps direct calcium into the bones and away from arteries, which means it supports bone density and also prevents calcification in the wrong places. That's double protection, stronger bones and healthier arteries. Okay, so that's a lot of science and a lot of benefits. But here's the tricky part: actually getting enough leafy greens every day. Most experts recommend at least 1 to 2 cups per day, and ideally even more. But let's be real, it's not always easy to sit down to a giant salad every day. The good news is that you can be creative. Smoothies are one of the easiest ways to get a big serving without even tasting it. Just toss a handful of spinach or kale into a fruit smoothie and you barely notice it's there. Soups and stews are another great way, because greens like kale, chard, and collards hold up really well to cooking. You can also sauté them with garlic and olive oil for a quick side dish, or throw them onto sandwiches, wraps, and even scrambled eggs. If you're someone who worries about pesticides or contaminants, organic is a good option, especially for spinach and kale, which often show up high on the dirty dozen list. Washing them thoroughly is always important too. And frozen greens are just as nutritious as fresh, sometimes even more so because they're frozen right after harvesting. I keep bags of frozen spinach and kale in the freezer so I never have an excuse not to add them to meals. It's also good to mix things up. Different greens have different nutrient profiles. Spinach is high in iron and magnesium. Kale and collards are loaded with vitamin K and calcium. Arugula is especially rich in nitrates for heart health. Bok choy brings in some unique antioxidants and is a great choice for stir-fries. By rotating what you eat, you cover more bases and keep meals interesting. Now, I do want to mention one thing for people like me who tend to obsess over health. Yes, leafy greens contain oxalates, which in very high amounts can contribute to kidney stones in people who are prone to them. But the key is balance: eating a variety of greens, drinking enough water, and not relying exclusively on just one type, like eating only spinach every single day, makes this much less of a concern. And honestly, the benefits of leafy greens far outweigh the risks for most people. So at the end of the day, adding more leafy greens to my diet gives me a sense of empowerment. I can't control everything that might happen in my body, and that uncertainty is what fuels health anxiety. But I can control what I eat. And every time I choose a plate full of greens, I remind myself that I'm doing something real, something backed by science, to protect my heart, my brain, my bones, my immune system, and even my mental health. If you're like me and you're constantly looking for ways to lower your risk of disease, think of leafy greens as one of the simplest, most powerful habits you can adopt. They're affordable, they're versatile, and they work in the background every single day to keep you healthier. And honestly, for someone with health anxiety, that's a kind of reassurance you can taste with every bite.